First rule, order of business is we need to adopt the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we need a motion to approve the minutes from the October 10th meeting.
Motion.
Motion. Second.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. All right, we're down to the public comments line. Do we have anybody who would like to speak? All right, moving right along. All right, unfinished business. Mr. Uten, the floor is yours.
Okay, with the handout that I just gave y'all, these are some changes that Libby and myself came up with. Libby and I have been talking about the solar farms, and everything here just pertains to solar.
So what I should have said to start with probably is that one of our primary reasons for meeting today was to discuss any ordinance changes that may be necessary for solar farms. We have PDCOG taking a look at our existing ordinance for subdivisions, mobile home parks, and RV parks. It's the perfect time to take a look at these other ordinances we had considered changing, because if we're going to make changes, making them all at one time seems to be the right thing to do. So just for those out there that are listening to this meeting later, that's why we're here. All right, I'm sorry, Mr. Uten, go ahead.
And with what Mr. Smallwood just said, I'm going to continue feeding PDCOG information as we come up with it and as we discuss it as a committee. And so I'm going to run over these. Now, I'm sorry that I don't have all my notes on the handout that I gave you. I was working on this kind of late last night and already made my copies. So, and these are not in any specific order, but when we're talking about solar farms, currently we require the company that installs the solar farm to have a decommissioning plan with it. What that means is they have to restore the land that's disturbed back to its original state as close as possible. You know, if you cut 100-year-old trees down, you can't restore that, but you can get the land back to where it will grow trees again.
Sure.
So currently, we do not require in the decommissioning plan for them to remove all the wire that's in the ground. We've got one solar company that goes ahead and includes that with their decommissioning plan. But anybody else, they don't. So what they will do is they'll dig a hole, cut the wire off 4 feet under the ground, and leave the wire in the ground. My proposal is that we require them to remove all wire.
Derek, is that via bond, a
Well,
performance bond?
they would have to have a bond with the decommissioning.
Right, it says they will uphold their performance.
Correct.
Right.
And
So should that be added, they have to put up a bond?
that,
Have to add it to the plan. They'd have to add it to the plan, and the plan would dictate the bond.
Right. Yeah.
we,
So we're going to require that?
we've got it.
Oh, okay.
We've got it now.
Okay.
That they have to put up a bond or a bank letter or something like that.
You got that in writing already?
Yes, sir.
Is it like for growth, like 125% or something, or how are we doing it? Because I just think about Amberley every time we think about
Well-
bond.
This is my recommendation. Right now, it's 125%,
Okay, that's how it is with,
which 125% was good years ago. It doesn't get it now.
no.
Another proposal that I've got for you is that we increase that to 200%. You know, put up a bond for 200% of, and what we do is currently, they have a third-party engineer that goes over the whole plan, and they decide, they come up with the number of what it's gonna take. And when I say third party, I mean it's a non-biased party that approves what the cost will be. They take out the scrap prices, they take out, well, all scrap prices. I think the only thing that they have to pay for is decommissioning of the solar panels. Is that right? Okay. I think that's the only cost incurred, and then, of course, the labor of taking everything apart. But I have seen in the past, figure doesn't come up to a whole lot of money because they get so much out of scrap. There's miles and miles and miles of aluminum wire that is in the ground. I used to know how many miles of 500 MCM it was at Centerfield, but I have forgotten now. But anyway, that's a change that I feel like we should do, and also have them to have a third-party engineering company to verify that and take soil samples to make sure that we're returning the land back the way it was. Another section is screening of solar farms. Currently, we are using a buffer zone B, which if you ride by Centerfield, a buffer zone B is not adequate. At a minimum, I would like to change our rules to include buffer zone C or opaque fencing, fencing that you cannot see through, where it abuts to residential, churches, schools, highways, county-maintained roads. I would like to see it to where when you ride by, you see vegetation, and then behind that is the opaque fencing, and that's what we do on junkyards.
What's the buffer for vegetation currently?
What's the distance?
Yeah, how much buffer of vegetation do they have to have? 20 foot or?
That's coming up.
Okay, sorry.
So, for the sake of those listening, could you kind of just give us a brief difference between buffer zone B and buffer zone C?
Okay. Buffer zone B is your plant spacing is, I think, every 20 feet, but you do have to have 2 rows. So you got to plant every 10 feet, but one's front, one's back. Buffer zone C has the 2 rows, but then it's got more vegetation in there. And currently, you don't have to have but a 3-foot plant there. Well, like that. And it takes years.
The solar farm will be obsolete before you get enough mature vegetation to do anything.
Conceal it, yeah.
So I want to increase the height and the restrictions on what size. Today, I don't have an answer for you as to what diameter tree that is, or I've got to talk to somebody that knows a lot more about plants than I do.
How many solar farms we have in Chesterfield County?
think we've got 3 active farms now. One large scale. But that's the only large scale that we have.
With the changes that you're trying to implement, the ones that we have now, would they be grandfathered in to this? There won't be no changes that they will have to make, they just be grandfathered in.
I don't see that we could go back on them and require them to do it.
Yeah,
That would be a question for,
it's just moving forward. It's just moving forward.
yeah. Anything that has not started as of the date that we get this done, anything from there forward will have to comply.
Just a 9-cent question, I guess. What does the changes benefit the county? What these changes that is being made, what benefits?
Beautification.
Just modification,
I mean,
beautification?
That's one of the biggest things, aesthetics.
That's what most of the people complain about. Environmental. I mean, in these buffer zones, I want to include pollinators for the folks that raise bees. We've got that coming up right now on this latest solar farm. Now, thankfully, that solar farm, they agreed to put it in without it being in writing. They put it in writing that they would add it. So,
Basically trying to put some things in there that because this solar farm is taking everything out of the ecosystem for that property, putting some measures in there to protect the adjoining neighbors from having to look at it. You know, if somebody comes beside your family farm and you like, or your house or whatever, and you like sitting on the back porch drinking coffee and looking at the birds, where they build a big solar farm right beside your house, and that's all you got to look at to try to protect people like that. But the pollinators is to also try to give back because they've taken everything away, is the thought.
So if Project Rango were to move forward, they would have to adhere to
They-
these.
if they're not issued any permits
Okay.
if they're not issued permits prior to this going into effect, they would have to follow this.
Okay, good. So that's a big one that's already been approved. We don't know that they're gonna move forward, but, you know,
It has not been approved through zoning.
right. So that's just my point to everyone. We do have some that have been approved that they would be affected by this, which is good that they are that far along. I mean, that we are not that far along
Right.
with that.
And Derek, what about the ones, and I think you were thinking about this too, what about the ones that we've approved through zoning and through 3 readings at county council, but we didn't have these stipulations in place?
They would follow this.
They would follow that?
Grandfather in,
That they be
Well-
required?
the old regulations.
Would they be grandfathered in if I have not
Done a
issued
permit.
any construction permits?
No,
See, I think, yeah, right, that would be
permits
with the
follow
new.
everything.
That-
I understand it.
That's what I've always gone by.
Yeah, that
If
was my
there's no
understanding, too. That's
permit
why I just wanted to
issued-
make clarification.
Then they have to go by our plan.
Coleman, you-
I agree.
Permits, right?
Yep.
Permits. So if they don't have a permit, they'd adhere to the new regulations,
Right.
If they get in place.
if they get put in place.
3 readings.
3
We'll
readings.
notify those companies that
Yes. Any of them that I'm still dealing with, they will be notified of the new changes. So I've covered. Okay. As far as 15605B9, the vegetation, I touched on that. But I want it to cut off visibility at the time of completion of the solar farm, not 20 years from now, today. So that's why I've got my note there at the time of completion. Because currently, we don't have anything that says at what time. I am gonna ask Libby to touch on this one, the battery storage. I do know that solar farms today are trying to put in battery backup systems that they can store energy in. We have no provisions on the battery storage, zero.
So they're just sitting there.
Huh?
They can just set the batteries in there and that's just where they are?
Right now, they can set them on the ground,
Okay,
as far as we're concerned. Now, EPA wouldn't allow that.
right.
But I feel like we need to get some things in place for the battery backups, because it's coming sooner rather than later. I would say
The one that's on Chesterfield and Darlington County, there's a battery for that one. It's in Darlington County, but it's the same solar farm.
Do they pay permits when they put the batteries in?
huh?
Do they have to pay a permit when they put the batteries in?
That would be included with the solar permits.
So if they do it after the fact, they don't pay to put the battery
They
there?
would have to get permits.
A permit to
for that.
put that battery in?
Correct.
Yeah.
Some of my thoughts on that are, it would be great to have a battery. I know you have concerns about batteries environmentally, but I think it would be good to have a battery because then that even doubles what you're trying to do. The whole reason of having solar is so that it doesn't hurt the environment. If you have a battery, then your solar farm is producing twice, I mean, I guess about twice the amount that it would be if it was just when sun was out. If the battery's there, then it can feed into the system after the sun goes down.
And I'll say this, like, over the last 10 years, batteries have changed the way they are. I mean, used to, the only battery you get is lead acid.
Lithium and all kind of stuff now, right?
Yeah, I mean, you get lithium, you can get, I don't know what all kinds you can get, but 5 years from now, you might can store 1,000 megawatts on a battery like this. I don't know. But
But do we want to require that? Do we want to require that the solar company has to have a battery? And some of the solar companies are not happy about that.
I've got no problem with that, because then you won't talk about, that's taking, going to the next step. Because at night, they can still feed power into the grid if they have the batteries. I've got to do research on that.
Provided it's stored up that much energy, excess energy during the day, correct?
I'm
The
sorry.
batteries would allow it to store that energy from the day. Right.
That's
So if it had excess, it would hold it in a,
Yeah, they could use it at a different time instead of only when the sun's out.
Is there any negative to the battery? Or what's the concerns with the battery, like for environmental?
The only concern I have with batteries is impact to the environment.
Right, I would have that too.
That's the only thing that concerns me about batteries.
Me too.
I dealt with them at a previous job, and the only thing I had was lead acid, but one battery weighed 4,000 pounds. And talking about storing that kind of energy, and that's what I'm going by. You know, they're 24 inches wide, 36 inches long, and 30 inches high.
now you said we didn't have an ordinance in place that would stop them from putting them on the ground, but the EPA does. Is that correct?
If y'all give me the go-ahead, I will have, they'll have to be in buildings, they'll have to be,
Okay. We'll
Contained.
protect the environment from said battery.
absolutely. That's what I'm asking for. And I don't have not had the chance to do that research, but I will and include it in this, if y'all are okay with that.
Let me just add that in some of the solar companies that I've talked to, they would like to see us not have a battery requirement because, two reasons. One, it of course costs more if you do one with the battery. Two is to be able to get into the utility RFP process, like Duke's process for the solar farm, to be able to submit that to them. Some companies require them to submit it with a battery and without a battery. And then Duke decides, I'm just using Duke as an example, then they decide which one the next year they want to go with, based on what they need, their power generation is what they look at. So that's the other side of the battery. You know, I think it's like everything else, there's some pros and cons to both, if you require it or if you don't.
Another change in, that I hope that we can do, is that I feel like any solar company that's going to come to Chesterfield County prior to any approval from council, from the zoning board, to permits being issued, I would like for us to require the solar companies to notify each person that owns property that joined this, whether they live there, whether it's a school, a church, to give those folks opportunity for education. And that, out of the meetings that I've been involved with solar farms, that's always a big deal. So I think we can head off a lot of issues with that. And I've got here, increase the size of the zoning signs. I'm gonna do that. And then I've already touched on pollinator-friendly ground cover. And yes, I do feel like that's very important. Something that I require that's not in writing, but I would like to get it in writing in our ordinance, is that we require, prior to any approval, a FAA letter for any solar farm that is in an airport district or close to it.
Does property owners have any say-so of whether or not the property owners want this solar system near their property?
They can protest to us to whether we allow it or not.
Right.
You know how we have a public hearing, how we have 3 readings and a public hearing? They would come to the public hearing and say whether or not, I mean, likely they would come if they are not in favor of it.
What are some of the negative questions that the property owner would have?
Yeah, they would have an opportunity to come to us.
Come express.
And I'm very good point, I'm glad you brought it up. Along with notifying property owners, I would like for them to hold a meeting, a question-answer meeting that we're not involved with, but that is between solar farm and adjacent property owners, so that the property owners that are adjacent to or that own property that it's going on, so they can get an education. Because there's a lot of negative stuff out there about solar farms that's really not accurate. So that would give a chance for solar farm to present it in a way that everybody understands it. So I will.
For Project Sandhill, that is a solar farm that has been approved, I talked with them recently, and they held a community meeting before that went through all the approvals. And the reason they didn't do it for Blue Granite is because they felt like most people were okay with it. So
Right. FAA letter, and,
What's the importance of the, just so nobody don't fly a plane into it?
well, which solar panels today, they have got to have an anti-reflective or anti-glare coating on them. But still, I talked with the South Carolina Aeronautical Association recently, and I told them what we were doing, and they said, please, they gave me some tools to work with that he just wanted to be included so that they could do their study before there's millions and millions and millions of dollars spent on everything that solar farms do. I'm not a pilot. I don't know what adverse effects solar farms have on planes. So,
Yeah, that's them.
I'm an astronaut though. So, internal roads, driveways, and roads that go through a solar farm. I would like to require solar companies to name those roads and put them in the GIS system so that if they have a medical emergency on that road, first responders will know how to get to it.
But not county maintained.
Not county maintained, these are private roads. It would be the same thing that we've got in Macri. It would be a different color. It would just be named, and it would be on our GIS map.
What if you got taxpayers living on this road?
There won't be. These are internal roads inside the fence.
So you're right.
And with that, we would also address,
Working out there.
assign address numbers to different parts of these roads. All that would come out of my office.
Are there requirements on the road, Derek, currently? Are there requirements on the interior roads currently? Or can they just put gravel down or whatever they want?
That will be the next thing I cover.
Okay.
Setbacks, currently, I think somebody asked a little bit ago about setbacks. Currently, you have to be 100 feet off of the property line. I'm good with that, except where it abuts to houses, churches, schools, plants, whatever. I would like to see us go to 200 feet and then have that buffer. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it so that your constituents don't have a problem with a solar panel. I don't want them to have to see it, because that's been the number one complaint that I get. So I would like to change that setback rather than 100 feet to 200 feet. And then the roads inside the fence that go to the different zones of the solar farm, I would like to see those 60 feet wide and have an all-weather surface, being crush and run, that they're required to keep up, because believe it or not, solar farms do have fires, and we have to get fire equipment in there. And we've got a couple of internal roads at one of these farms that are not adequate. And I'm working with them to try to get that squared away. But if I've got it in writing, I can enforce it. And at the end of the road, if it's a dead-end street, I'd like to have a 100-foot cul-de-sac or a 100-foot turning radius so that fire trucks can go to the end and turn and come back out. And I
Will
did,
you repeat that, 100 foot? I was trying to take notes. What did you say about the cul-de-sac? What size? The
a
cul-de-sac
100-foot radius.
radius.
And I talked about the decommissioning plan going from 125% to 200% of the estimated cost.
From a third party. From a third party.
Yeah, it's already in there about third parties, but as far as I wanna, yeah. The third party has to do the decommissioning plan. Anybody got any questions? I know I just went over a lot, and this is only for solar.
Covered it well.
And they'll bring you lunch when we do the subdivision.
In which you want to do a meeting the week after the council meeting, and you'd like to have some suggestions brought to that.
I would love to. What date was that?
We decide on the day. Yeah, after the December meeting. December 10th.
I can't hear what they're saying.
10th, December 10th.
10, okay. So I'm asking also that we go ahead and schedule a meeting on December the 10th, and I will have either the RV campground or subdivision ready.
Back from PD cog?
Huh?
From PD cog, their
No,
recommendations?
I will have the recommendations to run by this group, or if y'all want me to take the bull by the horns and run with it, I'll be glad to. And that would make it quicker.
Define, take the bull by the horns and run with it.
Make the changes that I feel like need to be made, because I'm the one that's been fussing about it the loudest.
Make the changes to what now?
Make the changes in subdivisions that I feel like we need to make.
So to clarify, you're saying you would work with PD cog and offer them suggestions that you see would be fit instead of allowing council to give you suggestions and then you go back to them and then it's back and forth.
Suggestions, and I haven't got
Can you briefly tell us?
Exactly.
Your recommendation or suggestion?
Well, we'd probably need to go over that.
Next meeting.
That'd be on the
We'll
next-
save that for
That's-
December 10th. It's on the agenda for today's meeting.
I think these meetings are good to kick everything around and then give the public a chance to.
I agree with
You've
that.
given us an opportunity to give you suggestions, and whether or not we've done that, that's on us. But it is good to hear from you, just to know, like Ethan said, so that we're all informed and the public can hear
And-
too.
And I don't want anybody to think this rewriting these ordinances is stagnant. It's not. There's a lot of work that goes in. And I'm trying to get it done as quickly as possible. And that's why I kind of hesitated having the subdivision stuff ready at the next meeting. But if you say that's what we're gonna cover, then I will have it ready.
Good.
I'm ready.
Subdivisions as opposed to RV parks or mobile home parks, correct? That's what you're saying? You can have one or the other ready?
Or subdivision.
Probably nice to go ahead and get the subdivisions done. That way we're not holding people up.
So we'll just plan on that for the December 10th after
And
the
these
council meeting, for you to
recommendations-
do this exact same thing with subdivisions.
Okay.
These recommendations that, you're bringing back to the council, it's just gonna be for us to overlook and approve if the council approve it, and if the council don't approve it.
All right, just like today, the changes that I have recommended, before this meeting is adjourned, I'm asking for y'all to vote
Okay.
and see if you agree with it. And if you do, then I will carry it to PD cog, and you will still get another chance to look at the revisions.
Well, what we'll do today is vote on whether to take this to full council at the next meeting.
or I just need permission to send this stuff to PD cog so they can put it in writing. They can
And then bring
change
it back in full
anything.
council.
What they'll do is they'll bring a total package of
Right.
this subdivision and all.
Good enough.
Public
So,
gonna have,
yeah,
the public gonna have an opportunity to speak at the
at that time,
Absolutely.
at that time, and they bring it back.
But what I want to do is I want to get it all to PD cog and let them give a draft
All at
so
one time.
everybody can see it.
And their plans is to have like a summary, letting you know what's been changed instead of slamming you with a huge book, letting you know exactly what's changed. So at that time, they'll bring all these changes to full council.
Yeah, this isn't a done thing, this is just moving on to the next step
Yeah.
to get it
It's just
put
getting it in
together.
that document.
And I want the public to understand that we're moving. I mean.
Oh, yeah.
We're not dragging the feet by no means.
Yep.
It's just a process. It takes time.
So, anybody, if you've got any questions, everybody knows where my office is, phone number, call me, email me, I am available.
Will these solar panel company have any type of an educational program for homeowners that live in the vicinity of the solar farm, adjacent landowners that may be near to?
It's unreal at the educational information they have for that.
That was one thing that you were recommending, right? That
Yes.
that we asked the solar company to provide an educational opportunity to surrounding
And
landowners.
if I put it in the ordinance, then we can require that.
Right.
I just need it, I need it in black and white so I can require it. And that way, if the public shows up, great. If they don't, that's okay.
Right.
But solar company would be here or at a different site to have that public meeting. They pay for all the advertising.
Okay. That was my next question.
Everything.
They advertise, okay.
That's on the solar farm.
Todd, I'd make a motion to send this to council.
Well, so, you want to take that, Coleman?
Yeah.
Okay. We just had that
Hey.
conversation.
I don't think there needs to be a motion, for him to take this to PD cog.
Okay.
This session is to receive feedback. Derek can take this to PD cog without approval. Y'all will of course have to approve the ordinance with 3 readings when it comes to y'all. And,
Yeah.
you know, amend it as you see fit, but him giving his recommendations based on what he sees on a daily basis of his job, I see that as an administrative function of his job, and I think that he could do that without council approval.
I'd say that's good then.
I think it's going to speed the process up for sure, but, and we'll,
Definitely will do
full
that.
council will still have the opportunity to approve or deny this,
I
right?
think today is for
Or amend.
y'all to give feedback.
Or amend,
on-
correct?
So Derek, you need to go ahead and get with PD cog on it.
And I notified them, let them know that we were meeting today.
So when we do the meeting after the next council meeting on subdivisions, it will be the same format. Feedback, suggestions, just to help you give more completely ideas to PD cog, not to approve or deny it at that point, but to prepare it for full council. Okay? Just so everybody's aware of that. Like Brandon, I thought we had to make a motion today too.
Yeah. If not, let's move on.
Sounds good. This is only on the solar farm.
Only on solar.
Only on
farms.
solar.
So
That's very good.
that's the end of, so that was our unfinished business. I guess if that covers everything, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Have a motion second?
Second.
Mr. Brandon? Second?
I second, but I have a question.
Okay, no, hold on, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna ask you, gonna buy the lunch, that's all.
All right, all in favor of adjournment?
That's a good question.
We are adjourned.